Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic holiday season, and I hope your new year is wonderful as well. Last week, I went to the post office. Now, I had to mail a gift to my friend, and I don't need a paper trail linking me to this friend. I love my friend, but he is the most likely to end up on an true Hollywood story. But not really, because he's not in Hollywood, kind of like an true upstate New York public access story. I love him to death. Don't need a paper trail linking me to him. Anyway, so I bring my cash. Bring my cash to give to the post office. Who's going to accept cash? The federal government. Turns out they don't. The post office, my post office, is not accepting cash. They make the cash. The post office is the representative for the entity that makes the cash. They won't accept their own currency? This is insane. I had to put it on a card. It's fine. We're linked forever in the ether that is the internet. We've been linked through all of our texts, so it's not really a big deal. I'm just kidding him. He knows who he is. This is not the first time I have seen this happen. Last year, when we got our stimulus checks. We didn't get checks. I got a Visa card. Visa. What does Visa have to do with the stimulus? Why is Visa involved at all? It's a government check to a citizen. It's not a check. I need to stop saying check. It's a government payment to one of their citizens. Why is Visa involved? It has nothing to do with Visa. And this is a scam. This is the gift card scam, where you'll use it and you'll leave a few cents on it because you can't use exactly that amount. Now you try to go to the ATM and get it out and they give you a 25-cent fee for it. So you can't even get your full amount out anyway. And then you have to go and buy something that's $19.75. Anyway, the whole thing is a scam, and it shouldn't involve Visa. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about the federal government just printing all this money to give to people, but nevertheless, it doesn't need to involve a third party. And that's what makes me the most upset about this whole thing. This past year, we seem to have gotten rid of cash completely. Now, have any of you ever received a Visa gift card and thought, thank God, I prefer this over cash? Not once, not ever, never happened. For some reason, they make Visa gift cards. I think they make Visa gift cards so that aunties can give it to their nieces and nephews and be pretty well assured they're not going to buy drugs with it. Nevertheless, it is unnecessary. Maybe don't give anything to your drug addict nephew. Rehab? Regardless, you don't need to involve the entire population for 1 or 2% that are having a problem. So this whole gift card thing, I hope you know it's a scam. Just give cash. We have slowly, over the course of the past 40 years or so, gone from never using credit cards to exclusively using credit cards. Now, this has been a trend over the past 40 years or so. Do you remember George Carlin had that stand-up bit of get some cash, people? I see you paying for gum with a credit card. So when was that? Was that the 90s? Was that the 2000s? When we were kids, before we were born, when we were very, very little, our parents really didn't use credit cards like that. They didn't need to. If you didn't have the money for it, you didn't buy it. Full stop, period. They went to the bank, they spoke to a person face to face, they got out their cash, and they used that throughout the week for groceries, etc., etc. Now, obviously, credit cards are very useful for some things. I still use credit cards. I'm not going to knock them at all. However, we don't need to involve a third party in these interactions. What does Visa have to do with anything at all? Now, we're also watching The Sopranos because it's the Christmas season and The Sopranos is about food and family. There's nothing more Christmas about that. We saw that was about 2005. This episode was from about 2005, where Tony Soprano wants to check into a hotel. He's paying with cash, and they ask for a credit card just for incidentals. He gives them a fake one, obviously. But that is just to show the time frame. It went from everybody uses cash all the time to people use cash most of the time to now the post office, an institute of the federal government, will not take its own currency. People say it's to do with COVID. I understand. COVID is just about over. We are in Omicron now. It's on its last legs. It's almost done. Hopefully, this all goes back to the way it was before. And this wasn't all just some ploy to involve a third party, a third corporate entity into all of our interactions. So to bring it back to The Sopranos, because that's how I'm thinking right now, the government is cutting in their friends to give them a cut, to let them skim off the top of all of our interactions. There's nothing in the Constitution about this. We need to stop it right now. We see what they're doing. Credit cards are convenient. We need to just say, no, because we should all have the choice of whether or not we use credit cards. And this also goes back, I don't have time to go into it, but this goes back into the credit score, into them trying to give you a score and put you in a system with a value. We're allowed to not be in the system. There is nothing in the Constitution that says you have to have a credit score. You're allowed to not buy a house. You're allowed to buy food and to buy whatever without involving Visa or MasterCard or American Express. Is there still American Express? I don't know. Basically, our norms are being shifted so quickly, and they're trying to hide it in this Corona thing, which is already on its last leg, so completely ignore that. Basically, if I had one Christmas wish for the new year, it would be this. Let's all knock this shit off, because this is silly, this is goofy, and we don't need mobsters running the government. Mobsters in fancy suits. Some of you might be thinking, is this about climate change? I don't buy that it's more environmentally friendly to give everyone a piece of plastic, many pieces of plastic, by the way, not just one piece of plastic, than to print paper. Paper is biodegradable. Plastic is not. I don't buy this climate change thing in the least. So don't even try selling it. Well, that's my rant for today. Subscribe.